will coast up to the line. Mercedes have done it. Being on the back foot all weekend, Lewis Hamilton wins the Bahrain Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton victorious in the desert. Valtteri Bottas is second and Charles Leclerc is third and gets his first ever podium. But after a weekend where it has been Ferrari in every single session, Mercedes come in at the last minute and swoop a 1-2, a double points haul. Absolutely spectacular.
So Lewis Hamilton wins his first Grand Prix of 2019, but really the moral victor was Charles Leclerc. Welcome to round 2 of the 2019 season, the Bahrain Grand Prix. The Bahrain International Circuit this weekend hosts round 2 of the 2019 Formula 1 World Championship, with teams of drivers arriving in the Island Kingdom to tackle the first night race of the season. It's the 15th Bahrain Grand Prix, and we come here with Valtteri Bottas leading the World Championship, 26 points, 25 for victory in Australia, and he also got the fastest lap bonus point on his first race win of the season, and indeed Abu Dhabi 2017. Lewis Hamilton second on 18 points, Max Verstappen third, giving Honda their first podium since 2008. A brilliant achievement for them. Vettel and Leclerc though for Ferrari 4th and 5th, they have got some margin to beat, considering their pre-season form was so strong they didn't deliver when it came to Australia. Then it's Magnussen, Hülkenberg, Raikkonen, Stroll, and on his return Danny Kvyat picks up 1 point in the Drivers' Championship. In the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes lead the way on, ironically, 44 points, but it wasn't number 44 that got them in. It was Valtteri Bottas, number 77, who got them their first win of the season. Scuderia Ferrari are exactly half points back on 22. Aston Martin Red Bull Racing on 15, Rich Energy Haas F1 on 8, Renault F1 on 6, Alfa Romeo on 4, then it is the Racing Point Team on 2 and Toro Rosso on 1. McLaren and Williams yet to score points. Well, we start in Australia, as you know. Valtteri Bottas victorious there. We're at the Bahrain Grand Prix this week. 2 weeks and it's race number 1000, the Chinese Grand Prix at Shanghai. Then it's the last Asia race in Azerbaijan before the European season starts in Spain and Monaco. A brief trip over to the Americas for the Canadian Grand Prix, then France, Austria and the British Grand Prix in mid-July will be the halfway point of the season, along with Germany and Hungary for the summer break, Belgium, Italy, then the flyaways in Singapore, Russia, Japan and the Americas, Mexico first this year, USA, Brazil, and all rounding out in December the 1st in Abu Dhabi. Hello everyone and welcome to the Grand Review podcast. Once again, I'm Joshua Birch and alongside me for the second race this year is Megan Birch. Megan, you weren't commentating on the race, but you were watching. But what a great race it was.
It was a great race.
Lewis Hamilton victorious, but the moral victor Charles Leclerc. I know you weren't in the commentary box, you were watching there because it was me and Dad commentating on that one, but what was your feelings about Charles Leclerc? He got so close, leading for so long, first pole position, and then losing out at the end with an engine problem.
I wanted him to win because I wanted 2 different people to win the first 2 races. I got a first person to actually win the first race being Bottas, who was different. But unfortunately, his teammate Lewis Hamilton. I do like Hamilton, though. Give another person a chance once in a while.
Another team?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that, because we said it just pre-season, didn't we? I didn't want personally for it to be another Mercedes dominance or necessarily Ferrari dominance. I wanted some new blood to win. We got that in Australia with Bottas, but it just felt like Hamilton looked into Bahrain's victory, but we know it should have been Leclerc. Now, the question is, Megan, you were saying all weekend as well and all season about how Leclerc, it's not just the car, it's him, it's his talent that's getting him ahead of Sebastian. We'll get on to what happened to Sebastian as well in the race, but How much do you think Ferrari are now starting to take notice of what a real talent they've got with Leclerc?
I think they really are starting to take notice. Just like they noticed his times through both races, and we're just like, okay, so we might have someone who's actually better than Vettel.
Vettel took the lead at the start, and Leclerc overtook him, not disobeying team orders as well, to stay behind. The second race running that Ferrari have introduced team orders. Now, it's so early in the season, it's not really called for team orders, so is Sebastian, I don't want to say afraid, but is Sebastian worried that if he's outshined by Leclerc, Ferrari won't favour him? A similar thing to what Schumacher and Irvine had in '99.
Yes, I think he is feeling just a bit like concerned, just like, will they just forget about me like they did with Raikkonen last year? And I think also Lewis Hamilton is also feeling that with Bottas, because he was like, oh my god, my teammate just won a previous race in one of the biggest races of the season, the opening race, and I didn't win it.
Yeah, I get exactly that. And it's also just to note as well that we saw in Australia the fastest lap bonus player part for Valtteri Bottas. He won the race, got 25 and the fastest lap bonus, and Hamilton came second. And it's complete roles reversed, because in Bahrain, Hamilton won, got the 25 points, Bottas came second. Many people saying the most not really rewarding 18 points, because Bottas was nowhere throughout Bahrain. He himself looked into second place due to Ferrari's errors and misfortunes throughout it. But it's interesting to note as well that with the stat we mentioned back in Australia, a Finnish driver who has led the championship has gone on to win. And it's interesting to note that 1 point for fastest lap is all that separates Hamilton and Bottas in the title going forward to China.
Yeah, I think that's what scares Hamilton the most. Just like, I'm not going to be able to beat him this year. I've got too cocky over the years. I mean, it came so close last year with Vettel, and I think he's not going to get it this year, maybe.
But last year with Vettel, it was sort of Vettel who went self-destructive, and the German Grand Prix, we always say. But did Hamilton look into last year? Because we know definitely he didn't have the fastest car. That was definitely Ferrari. But did Hamilton look into 2018?
I think he didn't really. I think he was just like, okay, I want to get this. Though I think this year it's completely changed, because he may be trying to get quite a large championship base. Like now he's on 5, he wants to get to like the same as Michael Schumacher, 7. Though this year wouldn't be really just like focused on much, because if he did win it would be his 6th, and people just be like, oh yeah, 6, still Michael is still one better. So I think he'll just like, I hope he'll back off a bit and let someone else have a go once.
Lewis doesn't really have a back-off type, does he? We know that, but I don't think he's got a choice this year with Valtteri Bottas. Let's move on then to the weekend, and I know that you did do Free Practice 3's commentary.
Yeah.
To which we'll get on to later on. But we'll start on Friday, and after the success of the Australian Grand Prix for Valtteri Bottas, all eyes were on him as practice got underway in Bahrain. Let's take a look at Free Practice 1 report. So let's get on with what happened in Free Practice 1 then, with the FP1 report. At the end of the first practice session, Antonio Giovinazzi and Nico Hülkenberg came together so the turn 4, 5, 6 complex of corners. Now what was happening was, it was after the checkered flag, and Giovinazzi had let Hülkenberg past, but then Hülkenberg backed off. So Giovinazzi wanted to get back through, Hülkenberg blocked him. Eventually, Hülkenberg did move alongside him and let Giovinazzi through. Giovinazzi takes his hand off the wheel to wave either in thanks or in disgust. We still don't know which one it was. And as soon as they do that, Hülkenberg hits the side of Giovinazzi. So it's front wheel to rear wheel. Giovinazzi gets launched up in the air ever so slightly and bangs back down to the floor. Both were called to the stewards, but luckily nothing came about from it. Coming out of turn 4, it's a talking point today, turn 4. Lance Stroll in the racing point lost the rear of his car and then slid across the very sandy track still. It's only used once a year here, Bahrain. And also, it's never been resurfaced since 2004. It's the original track surface. One of the only ones I can think of where it's still the original circuit surface, because even Shanghai's been resurfaced. But yeah. Lance Stroll slid out of turn 4 on the racing point on the sandy track, and he nudged the barrier, damaging his front wing, putting him out for quite a lot of the remaining FP1 session. And exiting turn 2, George Russell lost the rear of his Williams and slid across turn 3 completely and ended up on the back straight as well, running up the hill to turn 4. One of several drivers across both Formula 1 and the junior category of Formula 2, which returns this weekend, to have had issues at turns 1, 2 and 3. So let's see what the times look like after the first free practice session. But it is important to note that FP1 and FP3 both take part during the day, so their times are pretty much irrelevant going through to the weekend. What we have to look at is FP2, qualifying and the race for the real times and the real performance. FP1 and 3, although important, don't look at the times. They're a bit irrelevant. It's a bit confusing. But here's FP1's times anyway. So Charles Leclerc was fastest in the first practice session on 1:30.354. Sebastian Vettel second on 1:36.17. Valtteri Bottas third on 1:31.328. Lewis Hamilton fourth on 1:31.601. Max Verstappen wrapping out the top 5 at 1:31.673. Teammate Pierre Gasly was in 6th at 1:31.815. Carlos Sainz 7th at 1:31.952. Nico Hülkenberg 8th on a 1:32.040. Danny Kvyat in 9th on a 1:32.339, followed by Kimi Raikkonen wrapping out the top 10 at 1:32.385. Then comes Daniel Ricciardo in 11th on a 1:32.401. Kevin Magnussen is 12th at 1:32.602. Alexander Albon 13th at 1:32.874. Sergio Perez is 14th at 1:32.885. Lando Norris is 15th at 1:32.945. Antonio Giovinazzi is 16th on a 1:32.949. Romain Grosjean 17th at 1:32.994. Lance Stroll 18th on a 1:33.518. George Russell 19th on a 1:34.188. And Robin Kubica 20th on a 1:34.253. An interesting session in FP1. And Megan, something that always strikes me about Bahrain is the fact that it's a night race, but FPs 1 and 3 takes place during the day. It's pretty much irrelevant data, but you've done lap times on both on the simulator like I have. What's the difference in eyesight between the daylight and the nightlight?
It's, in my opinion, it's clearer in the nightlight, because in the daylight you can see all the sand. Though in the nightlight you can just you've got the light shining on you, so you've got a really good lit pathway of where everything is and where each corner actually takes place. You can see from further behind.
Yeah, I agree, and that's what happened when the lights came on for free practice too. So FP2 got underway, another 90-minute session. This time the sun had set, the lights had been switched on, and the Shakir International Circuit, later renamed the Bahrain International Circuit, was lit up with 1,450 light bulbs. Unbelievable. Ferrari topped the FP2 session with a 1-2 from Vettel Leclerc, but Sebastian Vettel lost the car at the exit of turn 2 in a very similar accident to George Russell, and it didn't cost him too much time, but a bit of a red face for the Scuderia driver of Sebastian Vettel. Kimi Raikkonen was also affected by turn 2, losing it on straight out of the pit lane actually, and that's because the front two tyres, so on the front axle, those two tyres are heated to 100 degrees. The rears used to be at 100 degrees, but for this year they've been dropped to 80 degrees. So there's a 20 degree loss at the rear tyres. So going into the corner, you're bound to lose grip on the opening lap. So Kimi Raikkonen's wasn't really due to the sand, it was due to the cold rear tyres. But it didn't help, because later on in that session for both of the Alfa Romeos, he and Raikkonen and Giovinazzi were forced to sit out the remaining of the FP2 session as they both developed water issues. So that's not great for them either. And it's interesting to know that Alfa Romeo put pink dye in the water system so they can tell when it's a water leak. Presumably they do that for other things as well, so they know they've got a leak and they know immediately if it's pink, it's water, we've got a water leak. That's a good system. I've never known any Formula 1 team to do that either. If you know any, put them in the comments below and I'll have a look. Racing Point duo of Perez and Stroll also lost a lot of time in FP2 due to floor damage, and they both had to be replaced overall. And an interesting note, it just broke in FP1 with Sky's Kareem Channel talking about it, but also it was confirmed ahead of FP2 that the legendary Williams engineer of Sir Patrick Head will be returning to the Williams team on a temporary contract. So with the loss of Paddy Lowe, of course, brilliant to see that Patrick Head is coming back out of retirement to help Williams and hopefully get them back in a stronger form. Patrick, of course, worked very closely with Sir Frank Williams, and they really were the, I don't want to say dynamite team, but they were the old school of Formula 1, and they really know how to win world championships. So it's great news to see Sir Patrick back, and I can't wait, because one of my earliest memories of Formula 1 was ITV watching an interview at the Nürburgring back, 2001, seeing Sir Patrick on the ITV crew, and he was talking about Ralf Schumacher and Juan Pablo Montoya and how they found it very unexpected that in their first year with BMW, since returning to the sport since the late 70s, that they have got such power with the BMW engine. So it's brilliant news to see as well. They returned, of course, back in 2000, and that was a really development year, and 2001 was, right, we're on pace now as well. So that's what happened in Free Practice 2 and the news of Williams. Let's take a look at the times, and these ones do count as well. So watch these for an indication on qualifying, because a lot of drivers did qualifying runs in Free Practice 2. So if you want an idea who to bet money on in the race and qualifying, take a look now below. Here's FP2's times. So Ferrari keeping an all-Ferrari domination on Friday here in Bahrain. Sebastian Vettel top on 1:28.846, followed by his teammate Charles Leclerc in second on 1:28.881. Lewis Hamilton was third on a 1:29.449. Valtteri Bottas is fourth on 1:29.557. Then it's Nico Hülkenberg fifth on a 1:29.669. Max Verstappen is sixth on a 1:29.725. Kevin Magnussen 7th on a 1:30.000. Then we get Lando Norris in 8th on 1:30.017. Then we get Romain Grosjean in 9th on a 1:30.068. Danny Kvyat rounds out the top 10 on 1:30.093. 11th for Carlos Sainz on 1:30.192. Then it's Pierre Gasly in 12th on a 1:30.429. Alexander Albon 13th on 1:30.458. Then we get Sergio Perez 14th on a 1:30.716. Daniel Ricciardo 15th on 1:38.48. Then we get Kimi Raikkonen 16th on 1:31.088. Lance Stroll 17th on 1:31.129. Antonio Giovinazzi 18th on 1:31.144. Followed by George Russell in 19th on 1:31.904. And on a 1:32.932, Robbie Kubica in 20th. So it was Leclerc topping Free Practice 1, it was Vettel and Leclerc topping Free Practice 2. Ferrari finally coming out of the box after being absolutely nowhere in Australia. And this is a circuit that historically doesn't really suit the Mercedes in the last few years. It has gone Ferrari's way as well. So when Free Practice 3 came around, Megan, you were commentating for the first time this year, and your first time in our new commentary box on your own. How did you find it?
I found it very good, and I was quite pleased that race of who actually took pole.
Leclerc.
Yeah, very pleased.
So, sorry.
Yeah, though one thing I did notice, I felt like Bottas was backing off because maybe he had a word. I think either Mercedes or Hamilton has had a word with him, just like, okay, Lewis needs to win this year. Though I hope he doesn't take that into account like he did last race.
I agree. So let's take a look first of all what happened in Free Practice 3, where Megan was commentator and I was relegated to Sky Race Control, but I took full advantage. There's FP3. So Valtteri Bottas comes into Bahrain as the championship leader. A disappointing Friday for the Mercedes, with Ferrari taking FP1 and double stacking in FP2. Vettel and Leclerc were fastest overall yesterday. And as you come into Saturday, that didn't change. Charles Leclerc was fastest at 1:29.569 from Sebastian Vettel second. 1.5 tenths off the pace though, 1:29.738. But still, 7 tenths the gap between Leclerc and Hamilton, so it is a very, very close run. Not much happened in the third practice session. I was at Sky Race Control. Megan was commentating on the session as well, so I had the app open with the driver tracker and the pit lane channel and all that, so really I do love having that feed every now and then when Megan takes over in the commentary box. But I was able to see so much more than anything else. And if you do have Sky Sports F1, download the Sky Sports app and you can watch the pit lane channel, the onboards and the live timing and all that lot. It is a cracking way to view Formula 1. But there wasn't really that much to happen in that session. There was a bit of debris down at turn number 8. He kept being picked up by the marshals, brave marshals around the circuit, running out to this type of racetrack, so quick and fast. But Antonio Giovinazzi had a problem again with the water pressure. Nothing really that they could do. It cost him about 10 minutes. But it was a pretty clean session throughout, which, yeah, alright, it's good. But I still don't like how it's going to be a problem this weekend if they can't get it fixed after a whole night working on it. But nothing really happened in the third practice session, but at least we got to see that finally Ferrari seemed to have upped their game and really have delivered ahead of qualifying. Mercedes then 7 tenths off, and even to Bottas 8 tenths off the pace. It is showing that finally Ferrari have got some pace at this circuit. They had a 1-2 here last year in qualifying, with Vettel starting from Raikkonen on row 1 and Mercedes jumped to row 2. What are we going to see today? So let's take a look at how they lined up in the times for the third practice session. So Charles Leclerc tops the third practice session on 1:29.569. Sebastian Vettel second on 1:29.738. Lewis Hamilton third at 1:30.334. Valtteri Bottas fourth at 1:33.89. Romain Grosjean completes the top 5 at 1:30.818. Nico Hülkenberg is 6th at 1:39.10. Lando Norris is 7th at 1:39.55. Max Verstappen 8th at 1:39.59, followed by Carlos Sainz at 9th at 1:39.65. And Danny Kvyat rounding out the top 10, 1:31.173. On a 1:31.333, Kimi Raikkonen goes into 11th. Pierre Gasly is 12th on a 1:31.392. Kevin Magnussen 13th at 1:31.540. Lance Stroll 14th on a 1:31.618. Teammate Sergio Perez 15th on a 1:31.638. Followed by Daniel Ricciardo 16th at 1:31.643. Alexander Albon is 17th on a 1:31.679. Antonio Giovinazzi 18th at 1:32.132. Followed by George Russell 19th at 1:33.387. And Robbie Kubica 20th at 1:33.525. So qualifying then for the Bahrain Grand Prix round 2 of the season. It's ever more crucial as it is the spectacle, the 999th Grand Prix qualifying. And here's what happened. Let's start then with the qualifying report, and we'll go from the back to start in qualifying 1. It's Robert Kubica who starts 20th on the grid. It's not as bad as it sounds. He's only 1.3 seconds off the pace now. Williams as well getting up there. Kubica's time is a 1:31.799. That went with George Russell, who starts 19th on the grid, 1:31.759. It's only 4 tenths of a gap separated them. Row 9 sees Lance Stroll start 18th in the Racing Point. Very well low down on the grid, not at all where he wants to be, right at the back. He's alongside Nico Hülkenberg, who starts 17th on the grid. He was the shocker of qualifying 1, such a low down position for the Renault driver. Then we get row 7, Antonio Giovinazzi starts in 16th place. He was also the last person to be eliminated in qualifying 1. Qualifying 2 now, on the same row, we see Danny Kvyat start 15th on the grid in the Red Bull Toro Rosso Honda. After such a glorious return in Australia, to start 15th on the grid, not really the best for him, but can he get up there and get some points like he did last time out? Let's move on then to row 6 of the grid, I should say, which 10, 9, 8, 7. Yeah, row 7. Sergio Perez starts 14th on the grid. Again, Racing Point seem to be a little bit off it here in Bahrain, but then again, it's a Mercedes power engine. They should be not liking the circuit. We know that this has turned into a Ferrari circuit more recently. And Pierre Gasly starts 13th on the grid as well in the Aston Martin Red Bull. How long before they replace him with Alexander Albon? That's the question we were having, of course, with Danny Field all those years ago. It's entirely possible. Gasly just not seeming to get any luck at Red Bull or perform. And then we get on to row 6. Alexander Albon starts in 12th place alongside Romain Grosjean, who has a 3-place grid penalty for impeding Lando Norris in qualifying 1. Norris had to back right out of it at turn 14, the penultimate corner, and Grosjean impeding Norris. Gains a 3-place grid penalty. Easy peasy. Let's move on then to qualifying 3 in the top 10 running order. Danny Ricciardo promoted to 10th place now in his Renault F1 team car. Not bad at all for him into the top 10 in a car that which knows needs performance at the Renault. Lando Norris, though, best Renault power engine. He goes 9th on the grid. 100% Q3 record. Brilliant for Lando Norris. It's Kimi Raikkonen who starts 8th on the grid as well on row number 4. He's alongside Carlos Sainz in the other best Renault engine. So ignore what I previously said. That's a bit of a boo-boo for me. But yeah, Carlos Sainz 7th. First time he's out-qualified his teammate Lando Norris, and the first time he's got into Q3 in his McLaren career, of course. Qualified 18th on the grid last time out in Australia. Row 3 sees we get Kevin Magnussen starting 6th place, the highest Rich Energy has ever won. He's alongside Max Verstappen, who starts in 5th place. Great place for him as well. Max, he started there last year as well. Valtteri Bottas is an all-Mercedes row 2 in 4th place. Lewis Hamilton in 3rd. He's going after, of course, the championship lead. But row 1, Sebastian Vettel starts 2nd, and Charles Leclerc, on his very first ever F1 pole position, is on pole. Right then, let's just see the grid in full. So it's Charles Leclerc who takes his first ever pole position in Formula 1. Alongside him is Sebastian Vettel on row 1. Row 2, Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas. Row 3, Max Verstappen and Kevin Magnussen. Row 4, Carlos Sainz and Kimi Raikkonen. And completing the halfway of the grid, Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo. Romain Grosjean, 3-place grid penalty for impeding Lando Norris in qualifying 1, starts 11th. He's alongside Alexander Albon in 12th. Pierre Gasly starts 13th and Sergio Perez 14th. 15th for Danny Kvyat, 16th Antonio Giovinazzi. Row 9, Nico Hülkenberg 17th along with Lance Stroll in 18th. And row 10 in 19th George Russell and 20th for Robert Kubica. So Megan, you said yourself on the preview show on Thursday that you're happy with Charles Leclerc. It starts at pole position. Just before we get into it, obviously we're recording this after the race, what was your thoughts going into the race for Charles Leclerc, your hopes?
My hopes were for him to win it, and yet again for us to have a Mercedes Ferrari just like battle. But unfortunately I didn't get that wish, because now it's just like Mercedes versus Mercedes for the championship, and that never works out well, because look at Rosberg and Hamilton. They actually caused friction between every single team. No other team could actually get a chance with them, and I don't want that to happen again. I don't want Hamilton to win any that many races as he did last year.
Still be a contender for the title, but not dominant.
Yeah, it's like maybe third contender.
Yeah, I get it. Let's see what then happens. Now, the Bahrain Grand Prix race. It was 57 laps. Megan wasn't in the commentary box, so she was up at Sky's Control watching. So your commentators are myself, Joshua Birch, and my father, Ian Birch, a real father-son commentary team. The first one, actually, officially, in this podcast form, since Graham Walker and Murray Walker. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's all coming out. But here's the Bahrain Grand Prix commentators, Joshua Birch and Ian Birch.
Round 2, the Bahrain Grand Prix, lap 1.
Get ready for the 999th Formula 1 Grand Prix. The youngest ever Ferrari pole sitter with his teammate alongside. Action in Bahrain. Great start from Hamilton, but I fear Vettel's got the inside line down to turn 1, and he does. He's going to have to slot in behind his teammate. Damage front wing, I think, for Vettel. He ran over a paper bag. Into turn 1 we go. The two Ferraris nearly made contact. Hamilton's going to try and go around the outside. No, it's Bottas who's got ahead of Hamilton, and he's already now lining up Charles Leclerc. Vettel out front, and there's a massive crash in the background. There's sparks flying everywhere. What has happened into turn 1 as Leclerc gets passed by Bottas, who sweeps around the outside. He'll have the inside through 3 and 4, gets through. Leclerc already not thinking about the race because he's had a go at Bottas. Hamilton's going to come for him now, right round the outside into
races, starting 18th on the grid.
Lap 2.
As we complete lap 1, look at Leclerc already having to position himself to defend from Hamilton, but he's got an awfully big close as Bottas goes very late. Looks up, Leclerc's going to easily have him round turn 2, and a rare mistake from Bottas, and here comes Hamilton. He's going to have the run up all the way up the hill towards turn number 4, pulls to the outside line. It's going to be in 8th gear easily before Bottas, right round the outside though. Are these two going to make contact? Bottas goes in a bit too early. Here comes Hamilton, he'll have to cut back. He's going to ring it round on the inside of turn 6. They're going to have to back out of it. Hamilton gets ahead of Bottas. A brilliant move, like Rosberg in 16, and that's going to leave Bottas now compromised for Verstappen just behind him.
Lap 4.
On board with Carlos Sainz, going to have to run now with the DRS right round the outside into turn 4. They're going to make contact there. And that was Ricciardo having a lunge on the inside of Raikkonen, but Raikkonen pushed him into the back. At the back of the picture, Hulkenberg's past Perez is a yellow out and a puncture. Out goes Carlos Sainz. He's got a puncture and his front wing's damaged as well. There was slight contact with Verstappen, and already drama going on as Magnussen's got ahead of Raikkonen as well. Ricciardo's dropping down the order, and here's the battle of Hulkenberg's been forced off the track. A shower of sparks in front of Pierre Gasly. There's Lando Norris going through, and this is a dramatic 4th lap in Bahrain. There's going to be a bit of drama there. That's going to compromise everyone with the second DRS. Look at Hulkenberg having to defend now. Right round the outside comes Sergio Perez, but Hulkenberg should have the inside line. Lando Norris going on Pierre Gasly now as well. As there comes at the back as well. Is that George Russell up there? No, who is it? It's Alexander Albon behind Norris. Russell's coming into the battle as well, just behind. He's got ahead of Kubica on that last lap. So 3 crashes on the opening laps, and possibly 3 returns as well, depending on Sainz can get him back to the pit lane. And if he hasn't, destroyed the floor of the car.
Lap 5.
Very late on the brakes, down 3rd gear, push out now through 5th gear, 6th gear, pull it now, hold the DRS line as you pull 7th gear, then wait until you cross the line, now pull 8th gear, now getting the turn right behind your teammate. Vettel knows this, he's going to have to defend, he is defending, but Leclerc's going to send him round the outside, brakes late, and is he going to get the cutback? Here comes Vettel with the cutback, Leclerc cuts him off, but now Vettel has got the DRS all the way out to turn 4, it ain't over yet, as he gets the DRS, Leclerc blocks him, Vettel pushes to the outside line, Leclerc has the inside, and Vettel very much put in his place. What a spectacular move from Charles Leclerc. What do you make of that one, Skyrace Control, Dan?
Well, I predict that it can only happen one way, and that is if they don't, if one of them doesn't pull away from the other, the way they're driving, they're going to collide.
Replay.
For a second, Giovinazzi versus Kvyat, and there's the contact round the outside, and Giovinazzi apologising for that one as well.
Lap 14.
This is Bottas trying to go around the outside now of Verstappen. Verstappen's holding the inside line. He's going to try and push it. Is he going to have a go at it? I don't know. Anything can happen in this one. Bottas has got the run on the tyre coming out now, up down towards turn number 4. Bottas goes to the outside line. Verstappen defends the inside. Bottas cuts him off. Brilliant move, but he's got a bit too deep, and Bottas gets ahead. That is a spectacular move in what is a very dangerous situation at the moment, but brilliant from Valtteri Bottas.
Lap 38.
Vettel has the DRS, so does Lewis Hamilton though, but Lewis is still going to go for it into turn 1. It's going to be the run up to turn 4 that Hamilton's going to have the DRS, so this is the one to watch now. Out of 2, out of 3, right up the hill, Hamilton has the DRS. Here we go again then. Hamilton has to pull to the outside line. Vettel defends. Hamilton sweeps round. Vettel breaks late. Hamilton gets into second place, and Vettel spins. Vettel spun. Vettel spins out to the Bahrain Grand Prix, and he's locked up the car. Unbelievable. Sebastian Vettel spins it and just gets going. Where's Valtteri Bottas? Where is Bottas? Has he gone ahead of him? I don't think he has. I think he's just kept it. Vettel proving he's human, spins under pressure. Lewis pulls round the outside now, and Vettel again makes a mistake, just gets on the tyres a bit too much, loses it like we saw Lance Stroll do in practice, and limps it round. So easy not to have it into the barrier, but Hamilton with a great move, and then Vettel on his own making the mistake. He's lost his front wing! He's lost his front wing! That's it, it's over! Vettel's lost his front wing! How on earth did he do that? Has he made contact with someone else? Vettel is surely out of the Bahrain Grand Prix. This is unbelievable. It's gone. It's gone. It's out of there. Unbelievable. And now this race is in the hands
presence of Charles Leclerc. He's made contact with the Force India of Lance Stroll coming in. Turns in, hits turn 10, and does it just fall off? What happens? Is he a cut off from the Williams? Oh, it just blows up. It just blows up. Vettel out, wing blown. What a race. That is unbelievable. Look at it. Front wing vibrates and just lifts up under it. That is a scary thing to do. Unbelievable. They're going to have to pit stop him now, but that is just unbelievable. Tyres gone, nose gone, opportunity for race win gone, even hitting the new wing. Unbelievable race here in Bahrain.
Lap 39.
The two Renaults go side by side. Hulkenberg's around the outside, and they lock up, and they make contact. The two Renault teammates hit each other, just ever so light. But Ricciardo locked up and just tapped the back of him. Vettel's back in the race, but he's down in 9th place now. Watch Ricciardo, he's got the DRS. Hulkenberg pulls to the inside, then pulls back to the middle. That blocks off Ricciardo's approach. Ricciardo gets the cutback though up the inside. He'll have a nice run, but backs out of it wisely.
Replay.
But here it is now.
It's like a wing on an aeroplane being loose, and it's only held on by those three either side little bits of carbon fibre, right? And so
what do you make of the spin?
And that way you can repair old front wings by putting the new bottoms on or new sides and things like that.
What did you make of this? What did you make of the spin?
Yeah, Stephen said, did you notice it hit the curb?
I didn't spot that, but good spot there. And look, here it is going and off, and that was close in front of George Russell. But yeah, so the nose hit the curb, so that explains why it just blew. Look at the vibration.
Look at the vibration. That's it.
Oh, that's unbelievable. That's because the tyres are so worn down to the camber as well.
Down below.
Yeah.
Lap 46.
No. There's something strange with the engine on Charles Leclerc. This is dreadful news. Oh, no, this is like Damon Hill in 1997, when the whole of the world were cheering him on. He was the underdog in the Arrows, and a 50p bracket failed and cost him victory. And now everyone on the planet is wishing Charles Leclerc on. This is unbelievable. Lewis could win the race if he could just catch 7 seconds in the next 11 laps. This is unbelievable. Leclerc with a problem, and the time just ticking down the gap. This is unbelievable. A race weekend dominated by Ferrari, and it's all gone wrong in the space of 10 laps.
Lap 48.
Oh, he's losing such a lot of power. This is not Ferrari's day in the desert. After being dominant all weekend long, reliability issues are just letting it go. Hamilton rules the inside line, and Hamilton takes the lead in the Bahrain Grand Prix. And the entire Ferrari's garage, their hearts break, and you can feel it. Meanwhile, it's the polar opposite at Mercedes. They are delighted that Hamilton leads, but personally, I wanted the fairy story with Charles Leclerc, and it just hasn't happened.
Lap 54.
Well, this is it. This is going to be the second place gone away. Mercedes have really stolen a blinder here in the desert. Valtteri Bottas goes up to second place, and Charles Leclerc is stuck now in third place. And this is so visible now at how disappointed the Ferrari guys are. So Vettel makes a mistake at his own pressure and loses a point scoring position in the podium, and Leclerc's car fails under him while leading the race. You wouldn't want to be Ferrari tonight, that's for sure.
Lap 55.
There's a yellow. Oh, and Hulkenberg stopped. Hulkenberg is out. Hulkenberg stopped and out of the Bahrain Grand Prix on lap 54, 57, and that could cause a safety car. This might just... Oh, Ricciardo! Oh, no, Ricciardo's out too. They were running 9th and 10th. Have the two Renaults come together. You don't need to be Miss Marple to realise what's happened here. They've hit each other. Oh, this is just unbelievable. Rule 1 is don't hit your teammate. Rule 2, see Rule 1. The Renaults have hit each other and they're out. This is just a presumption, of course, but Hulkenberg out, Ricciardo out. The Renaults have hit.
Everything just cut out.
Oh, safety car. Sorry to cut you off, Dan. That's it. Safety car. Race over. That's safe, Charles Leclerc's bacon. Safety car for the first time this year. Dan, over to you.
Leclerc's just got his podium because there's a safety car.
And Lewis Hamilton has won the Grand Prix.
Unless that safety car goes in.
That's a good point. The safety car line as well. Lewis Hamilton has effectively just won the Grand Prix. But what do you reckon happened to Renault? Double DNF. One with electrical failure, one with an engine failure. You can't write that stuff.
Joshua, everybody here seems to think that it could have something to do with them running out of fuel.
Well, there's an engine failure on Hulkenberg. That's confirmed. Ricciardo had an electrical issue. And out of the race goes Carlos Sainz as well. What happened there? We're losing everyone. The race, I don't see why Carlos Sainz has done that. It's only 2 laps to go. The race will finish behind the safety car. Lewis Hamilton has just won the Grand Prix.
Lap 57.
The safety car will come into the pit lane at the end of this lap, but no overtaking until the start-finish line. The race will end behind the safety car, so Lewis Hamilton will exit the last corner. It's the first ever Bahrain Grand Prix to finish behind the safety car. It's only the 13th time in history it's happened, but Lewis Hamilton exits the last corner, will coast up to the line. Mercedes have done it. Being on the back foot all weekend, Lewis Hamilton wins the Bahrain Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton victorious in the desert. Valtteri Bottas is second and Charles Leclerc is third and gets his first ever podium. But after a weekend where it has been Ferrari in every single session, Mercedes come in at the last minute and swoop a 1-2, a double points haul. Absolutely spectacular.
Next race, China, race 1000.
Well, Megan, what do we say about that one? I think we mainly have to start with Ferrari and their disappointing Grand Prix. 1-2 on the grid, Leclerc, Vettel led, and then pitted, Leclerc took the lead, Vettel v Hamilton, and Vettel, as we've seen, his signature move, locks up the rears and spins around.
Yep. I think that was that hurts him quite a bit. People got to realise. I mean, he's not going to make a comeback like he used to do last year. Not at all this year, I don't think. I just really wish that Hamilton and Vettel would just go for battle for third place.
Well, it was for... I thought you meant in the race. I think you lost third in the race.
Yeah, same in the race. I don't want either of them to win this year. They're both quite many championships are won.
4 for Vettel, 5 for Lewis.
Yeah, and I want their teammates who, one I don't think has ever won a race, and one who's won 5.
You're absolutely right. Bottas 5, Leclerc none.
Yeah, I want them to win it because it shows their potential.
And just in case anyone's wondering, Megan hasn't got a stat sheet in front of her because we're actually outside for this podcast. We're not in the commentary box, we're outside. It's a lovely sunny day.
To be honest, I never have a stat sheet because I know I have quite a good memory.
She does, I don't. I have literally pages of stats, which I'm sure we'll show when we get round to showing the commentary box off at one of these races this year. Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas then. Bottas still leading the title by 1 point. That fastest lap point from Australia separating them. But Australia, Bottas, Hamilton, Bahrain, Hamilton, Bottas. If it is going to be Mercedes dominance, they're trading, and China's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, it will be quite interesting. But you know what also I think might be quite interesting? If another team comes into the mix.
Red Bull?
Yeah, if Red Bull wins, or maybe even Alfa Romeo with... I think Raikkonen's on that team, maybe?
Yeah, Alfa looking good, and we know that for the first time since the 2008 Grand Prix of Hungary, I think, we've had a Honda engine on the podium with Max Verstappen. You've been quite critical of Honda over the past few years since they came back into Formula 1, but they've finally got a podium, and they've got a great shout now, got a great engine.
In my opinion, it caused Alonso's downfall, so I'm not a very big fan of Honda.
I agree. But it's great to see that they've finally got their engine together with a great team.
Yeah.
It's Red Bull.
Why couldn't it have been 2 years ago they did that?
Exactly, that's the point. So, it's time then for the classification run-through. And as usual, I will be asking Megan for her rating. 1 for being poor, 5 being the top, and your ratings throughout the race. So let's get going. So the classifications for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and as usual, Megan will give her 1 to 5 analysis. Lewis Hamilton, victorious for the first time in 2019, now only second in the title. Megan, your rating?
3.
Valtteri Bottas finishes second, the championship leader by just 1 point after winning it in Australia. Megan, your rating?
2.
Charles Leclerc in third place, holding off for Scuderia Ferrari in a fantastic battle. His engine failing though, and he managed to hold off third place after the safety car. I was wrong with what I said earlier about Verstappen getting a podium. That was back in Australia, so I don't know why we actually said that. Brain's going to be fuzzy after the race, because we had a number of people coming into the commentary box, and I've done MotoGP since then. So Charles Leclerc finishing third, should have been the race victory today. Heartbreaking. I was very upset in the commentary box as well about it. But Charles Leclerc finishing third, great race for him today. Megan, your rating?
5.
I agree. Max Verstappen finished in fourth place, reining in Leclerc, but the late safety car sort of cost him that one. Your rating?
4.
Sebastian Vettel, fifth in today's race. He was leading, pitted, and then span after a battle with Lewis Hamilton. Not his greatest race today. Megan, your rating?
2.
Lando Norris finished in sixth place. Another points finish for the young gun in McLaren. Megan?
3.
Kimi Raikkonen finished in seventh for the Alfa Romeo Racing. Megan?
3.
Pierre Gasly finished in 8th place for Aston Martin Red Bull Racing, the first time he's actually been in the top 10 this year.
2.
Alexander Albon finished in 9th for Red Bull Toro Rosso. Honda, not a bad result for the young Thai driver with British nationality as well. And your rating?
4.
And,
Actually saw him in the race.
and rounding out the top 10 is Sergio Perez, and his last name not many people know is Mendoza. But Sergio Perez in 10th place. A great result for the Racing Point team as well, getting another point. Megan, your rating?
4.
Are you surprised as anybody about his name being Mendoza?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's his official last name.
Why is it Perez there then?
Racing name.
Oh.
Antonio Giovinazzi finished in 11th place for Alfa Romeo Racing. Not a great race for him today, just outside the points, but looking strong going back to China. Megan?
3.
Danny Kvyat finished in 12th place for Red Bull Toro Rosso Honda, just not exactly the points like his teammate Alexander Albon, but Kvyat, again, showing some good, strong race pace throughout the race. Megan?
4.
Kevin Magnussen, finished in 13th place for Rich Energy Haas F1. Megan, you ready?
3.
Lance Stroll finished in 14th place for Racing Point Force India, yet again outside the points, but still, he's learning with a fast team. Megan?
5.
5 for Lance Stroll.
Yeah, because I actually saw him in the race and he was doing good, he just couldn't get the pace right.
Okay, wow. George Russell is 15th for Rocket Williams. Again, quite a good result for him in such a poor car as we know. But Megan, your rating?
5, because it's a poor car, that's the only thing outshining him.
I can't remember which race it was where we mentioned about Russell outperforming the car. It might have been Australia in the podcast, but Russell is he's testing for Mercedes throughout the week, so he's going to go from the slowest car on the grid to the fastest car. How much is that going to help to get that knowledge to help Williams?
I think it's going to be quite a good thing to get that knowledge for. I think that he'll be better in Red Bull.
Yes, even though he's a Mercedes driver.
Yeah.
Robert Kubica is the last official finisher in 16th place. Your rating?
4.
Not bad. And then the DNFs as well, but still counted with 53 laps completed. Nico Hulkenberg stopping with a failure as well. Megan?
3, though it was hilarious when he stopped.
Yes, because his teammate Daniel Ricciardo stopped at the same time in the same corner, just separate incidents, causing a safety car. He finished in 18th place officially.
3.
Megan's laughing. Carlos Sainz in 19th, stopped on lap 53 as well, so 3 retirements on lap 53. All Renault engine, that's something to look at, isn't it? Megan, your rating?
2, because I actually never saw him on the grid.
And the only actual retirement throughout the entire Grand Prix officially counted is Romain Grosjean in 20th place, retired on lap 16. Megan?
2.
So, what a race we've got to look forward to at the Chinese Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time. Megan, any idea why it's going to be a great race?
Because...
It's race...
1000?
Exactly right. The 1000th Formula One World Championship event. It started at Silverstone on the 13th of May 1950, and now it's all going to come to the biggest celebration of all, the 1000th Grand Prix at China, and it's got some to follow. The 700th Grand Prix was the 2003 Brazilian Grand Prix, and that was an absolute classic. The 800th was the 2008 Singapore Grand Prix, Spygate with PK. The 900th, we all remember, the 2014 Bahrain Grand Prix.
That was a really, really dramatic race.
The battle between Rosberg and Hamilton, and now the 1000th is the Chinese Grand Prix. Megan, we go there with Bottas leading the title for the second race running. Hamilton's a point back, but we know it's a circuit where Ferrari are good at, and we know Red Bull are good there as well, because there always a Red Bull in the China shop. What are you looking forward to about race 1000?
I'm looking forward to seeing a new person on the podium, because I don't think you'll be anyone who's ever not got a podium before.
That's going to be very interesting to shout out for Megan.
Leclerc.
He already got a podium this week.
No.
Oh, you mean winner?
Leading.
Oh, you mean winner? I see. So, it's 2 weeks until we get going for race 1000. You can join us on Thursday for the Thursday preview, Friday for the Friday practice review, Saturday for the Saturday practice review, and Sunday for the race preview. I'm delighted to say that joining me for that race in the commentary box is Megan Burge permanently. So, you're looking forward to commentating on that one, race 1000?
Yes, and bear in mind, I may not be supporting Lewis, so I'll be supporting Mercedes, because I just don't want him to win this race. I mean, 2 races in a row, really.
And as usual, our father Ian Birch will be joining us as well as pit lane reporter. So it's going to be a great race 1000. We might even try and get him on the podcast, depending on his schedule. But it's going to be a great race, this one, isn't it? The Chinese Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time. And we go there with the fight on between the Mercedes duo, and let's hope Ferrari can get it going. So we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. From us all here, bye for now from the podcast.
Bye.